Hello everyone, it's your boy DC Ranks here, and it's time to answer your questions. Now, you guys definitely did ask a lot, but I'm going to get through all of them today. And I've decided I'm going to answer all the less serious ones first, and then save all the juicy ones, mostly music related ones, for later. But I say that's about it, let's just get right into it. Alright, first question here. I've already asked two others this, and I'm doing it again. How are you? Well, thanks for asking, man. I'm doing pretty good. Especially after this past weekend, because I actually wasn't feeling too good. I think I got food poisoning from Arby's, and no disrespect to the chain, I actually love their food, it's just something was off this time. I don't know what it was, man. It could have been the curly fries or something, a lot of grease, but other than that, I'm feeling a lot better now. So I'm in summer break now. It's already my second week, I think, so that's pretty great. Okay, next question. How?
I'll do you one better. Why?
Alright, next up, what state you live in, or maybe that's too personal. No, that's not too personal, man. I live in the great state of Ohio. If you're from Ohio, you know that a lot of people make fun of our state, especially the people that live in here, mostly because of the weather and people think it's boring and nothing to do. But honestly, it's not that bad. I've lived here my whole life, and I like it. I mean, you got a lot of things to do. You got two great amusement parks. You got Cedar Point, you got Kings Island, you got a bunch of professional teams. I mean, I'll talk about it later, but I'm a huge fan of the Bengals and Reds. But yeah, I mean, we got a lot of famous people out of here too. We got the Wright brothers, we got Neil Armstrong. I mean, the list goes on and on. So people need to stop hating on Ohio. It's actually kind of annoying. All right, moving on to the food and drink related questions. The first one I got here is, what's your favorite sandwich? Now, this one's tough because I like a lot of different sandwiches, but I'll just give a couple of my favorites. First one that comes to mind actually is back to Arby's, the French dip and Swiss. Been really enjoying that one lately. And I don't think that was the thing that gave me food poisoning. I think it was the curly fries, but enough about Arby's. Another classic sandwich I love, Philly cheesesteak, especially from Penn Station, so good. Also, life hack, Penn Station's chocolate chip cookies are amazing. Literally my favorite cookie of all time, I think. So if you ever go there, definitely be sure to get a cookie. And then third, honestly, I just love a good old ham and cheese, especially from Which Wich. I don't know if you guys have them where you live, but I love that place, man. I like getting, ham, provolone, lettuce, onion strings, and I also like putting their house chips on the sandwich. It just gives it that extra little flavor and crunch. So yeah, I'm a big sandwich guy. What's your favorite soda or drink? If we're just talking drinks in general, then definitely water, 100%. Best drink there is. I don't care who you are. That's pretty much all I drink 99% of the time. On the off chance I have soda, I'd say my top two are definitely Barq's Red Cream Soda, even though it's so rare to come by these days. I can't find it anywhere, man. And then my second favorite would probably be Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Shout out to my Taco Bell fans out there. It's literally the best. So, that's the only thing you can get to drink from Taco Bell. If you don't get Baja Blast when you get Taco Bell, there's something wrong with you. Alright, Awesome Mate asked 3 questions. I guess I'll answer them. So, 1, do you like pizza? If not, I will eat an apple. You don't have to eat an apple, bro. I love pizza. Low key, my favorite food. There's another question about my favorite food, but I'll go more in depth. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I was just running. What are your thoughts on Moroda's music? I'll be honest, never even heard of the guy or girl. I'm not sure. I looked it up on Spotify. I'm pretty sure I've never heard their songs. So sorry about that. Are you ever going to post gaming videos on YouTube? Now, last year I tried, but the editing for those videos took about 10 times longer than the editing for this channel, and I gave up, honestly. I don't know if I'll go back to it. I might if I get bored enough, but for now, not really. Speaking of the devil, what is your favorite and least favorite food? Now, favorite, there's a tie. So 1 is pizza. The place where I live in Ohio, there are so many good pizza places, not national chains, local, that I couldn't even explain to you how good they are, unless you live here and you know. But yeah, pizza for sure. And then second favorite is my mom's homemade tacos. They just hit different. You'll never understand, I'm sorry, but I love tacos. I love Mexican food in general. My whole family does, but my mom's homemade tacos are my favorite Mexican food there is. Least favorite food, I try my best not to think of least favorite foods. I honestly don't even know. Actually, you know what? I hate tomatoes. I know it doesn't make sense considering I love pizza and pizza sauce, but you can do so many different things with tomatoes that ketchup doesn't even remind me of the taste of them. I like salsa. I don't like the chunky parts of salsa, but yeah, just straight up tomatoes I can't stand. So I guess I'll go with tomatoes. You got games on your phone? Not for you. No, but actually I do, but I hardly ever play mobile games, dude. Like, I don't even remember the last time I touched one of those, so yeah. Okay, what is your opinion about Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 6? Does it suck or is it good? Now, when Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 6 dropped, that week I actually had a lot of family coming in and out of the house, visiting from like out of town, and a lot of them were like young cousins, so I was playing Fortnite with them, and we were having a good time because, you know, new season, hype around that, but like the stuff they added, like the whole crafting system, I don't really like it, man. Like, at first, I thought it was too complicated. It's not, but like the guns aren't that strong. I know there's probably been updates since then, but I just don't care to play it because also the map sucks. Like, I've hated the Chapter 2 map ever since it began, man. Literally, if they would just add the old map back, I'd probably like the game again. I know there's a lot of sweat still and it wouldn't feel the same, but that nostalgia, man, like, oh my god, peak Fortnite was just something different, man. I really wish they brought it back. But yeah, I haven't played Chapter 2 Season 6 since like that first week. And hopefully Season 7 gets better. I mean, I always try to look back at the game at the start of each season to see what is added and what's taken away. But honestly, there's not much hope for the game anymore for me. Apex and Rocket League is where it's at, as you can see in the video playing right now. Oh boy, Marvel or DC? What do you like from both? Well, even though my initials are DC, I gotta go Marvel 100%, dude. I am a huge Marvel nerd, huge Marvel fan, whatever you want to call me. Ever since the first Iron Man dropped, I've seen like every single movie in theaters, some of them multiple times. I even saw Endgame 4 times in theaters. So yeah, I'm pretty dedicated. What do I like about Marvel? Love the heroes, love the story and character development. Action scenes are top notch, comedy is great, still holds up. And they're so rewatchable, man. They're just a blast to watch. And DC, even though their movies haven't been up to par, and their whole like cinematic universe plan was a blatant copy of Marvel's. Everyone's trying to replicate that, but Marvel did it first, so they're the best. So I wish DC's movies were better. I didn't really enjoy much of them, but I've heard their comics are good. Even though I don't read comics, I've heard that like most people think DC's comics are better than Marvel's comics, so that's a plus if I ever were to get into comics. I also like Batman. Like, who doesn't like Batman? DC's got some good heroes and villains like Joker, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. It's just I wish the movies were as good as Marvel, because that would be great to have two great comic book franchises have equally amazing movies. But it's great competition. So yeah, Marvel all the way. Okay, piggybacking off of that question, any favorite TV shows or movies? I'll be honest, I hardly ever watch TV, dude. I'm more of a YouTube kind of guy, but I could go with a really easy answer because I just watched this show back in like November, October. It only took a couple months to binge because it was addicting. And that was Breaking Bad. Easily, hands down, best TV show I've ever seen. It deserves all the praise and hype it gets. Now, any favorite movies? Honestly, any of Christopher Nolan's movies, dude. He's my favorite director of all time. Inception, Tenet, Dunkirk, the Dark Knight trilogy. All phenomenal movies that are so rewatchable, dude. So yeah, I'd say any of his movies are my favorites. Okay, I'm going to combine the next two questions since they're pretty similar. So what's one thing you love and are passionate about besides Monstercat? And then my friend Saad, actually, in real life, who I don't even think he likes EDM, but he still watches my channel sometimes, so thanks, man. He says, besides from ranking music, you should honestly rate movies. I feel like you'd be good at that, maybe like a second channel or something, I don't know. I might someday, but yeah, okay, obviously one thing I'm passionate about are movies. I've always loved them growing up. I've always been more of a movie guy than a TV guy. My family and I love watching movies together and stuff like that. Another thing would be probably roller coasters, honestly. Now, I'm a mechanical engineer in college, and I'd say that my dream job of engineering would probably be designing roller coasters. Always loved them growing up, and since I live so close to one, Kings Island, I live like 30 minutes away from that place. Great roller coasters, great rides. And then I'm like 3.5 hours south of Cedar Point. Literally the best amusement park in the world. I don't care who you are. And then the third thing I would say is sports. I'm a huge diehard Cincinnati Bengals fan. Have been my whole life. Haven't even seen us win a single playoff game my whole life. But this year's looking up. I'm super hyped for the season because Joe Burrow's coming back healthy. And we just got Jamar Chase. As long as we can get a good line to protect him, this offense is going to be electric. So yeah, I just really hope this is the year we finally make the next big step and actually win a single playoff game. That would be great. Okay, what is your opinion on Newgrounds music? Because I got into EDM through Newgrounds and I don't really see it represented all that much in the community. I'm sorry, Ecstasy, but I'll be honest, I don't really have an opinion on Newgrounds because I hadn't even ever been to the website until today when I looked it up for your question. I did hear about it in the Grant AMA on the Monstercat Discord a while back, but yeah, I've never been to the thing, never heard. I don't know if I've even heard music from that place, so I'm sorry, but it's still going to be represented a little bit less in the community. I feel like it's just a little bit OG for people, like not that many people remember or know about it. So yeah, sorry about that, mate. Alright, how did you get into EDM? So I kind of already answered this in my Skrillex video a few weeks back, but I'll repeat it here. So I think it was either 2010 or 2011 when my brother and his friend showed Skrillex to me, and I was hooked instantly because the songs like, you know, Kill Everybody, Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites, I just thought it sounded so cool. And then my brother had like, I think it was either an old iPod or like MP3 player, and I remember riding in the car and like listening to stuff he added like Knife Party, Wolfgang Gartner, some Daft Punk, stuff like that. And yeah, I just loved it ever since. Oh, this is a good one. First Monstercat song you ever heard? So originally I thought it was Alone by Marshmello because I heard that in the Fortnite Marshmello concert in February of 2019. But then I remembered that I actually got Rocket League in January of 2019, and the intro song at the time was Badlands by Rogue, so that is actually the first Monstercat song I heard. Alright, we got another good one. What's the reason you love Monstercat? Now, the simple answer would be just because of how diverse it is. I mean, you got so many different artists, so many different genres, you got different brands, you got Instinct, Uncaged, and Silk. Even though I don't really care for Silk right now, you still gotta respect what they're putting out there. But there's just something everyone can enjoy. It's so diverse, I love it for that. But another big reason I do is because it actually revitalized my love for EDM. So I'm gonna kind of go into story time here, and I kind of said this in the Skrillex video, but from about like 2012 to like, I want to say like late 2019, I only used iTunes to listen to music. Not even like the Apple Music thing, straight up iTunes where you had to pay $129 for every song you wanted. So I was an idiot and wasted so much money on that. I should have gotten Spotify way earlier. But basically, what I would do is whenever I could think of a song I liked or like heard one on the radio or like a movie, I would just add it to my library, and I would just shuffle through this library all the time, like around family, around my, like by myself, stuff like that. And there's a lot of different stuff in here. I mean, there are some classic EDM songs in there, but there's a lot of like classic rock and like movie soundtrack stuff. But then around my 19th birthday, I finally decided to get Spotify Premium, and that's really one of the best decisions I've made because you can add whatever you want, there's no limit. And that's around the time I started making Monstercat playlists and adding Monstercat songs, and these are playlists I still listen to today and edit all the time because they're never perfect. So that's the really long answer of why I love Monstercat. Okay, I'm going to combine the next two questions since they're super similar. So favorite and least favorite label, and then what labels do you frequently listen to outside of Monstercat? Now, I kind of explained how for many years I just added songs, like random songs I like not even that much EDM, just a lot of different stuff. And I'll be honest, Monstercat's the first label I've ever followed, and it's the only one I've ever followed. So obviously that's my favorite. Now I've heard there's other good labels, but I don't know if I really want to invest more time in following other labels right now because I'm still pretty new to Monstercat. Like I still have a lot to rank, which I'll talk about in the channel update video I'm making. But yeah, and I'll also talk about how like I know a lot of people think the quality has declined, but there's questions about that later, so I'll get to that stuff. Alright, continuing on with this whole label topic, if you were to start a label, who would you sign and what genres would you do the most often? This is a pretty tough question because I've never really thought about this. So I know there's a lot of labels out there that specialize in very specific genres, like I'm pretty sure Bitbird's just future bass and Disciple's mainly just like heavy bass music. If I'm wrong, let me know. But if I were to do a label, I'd want it to have a lot of variety, kind of like Monstercat does. But I'd probably just include like some of my favorite genres like house, future bass, meldub, stuff like that. And then artists, obviously, I would probably just pick my favorite artists out there like Haywire, Porter Robinson, Grant, Bad Computer, people like that. Alright, what do you use to edit your videos? I use good old iMovie, man. It's free. I have a Mac, so it came with it, so it's pretty easy to use. I tried to use like some cheap like more I guess high-tech ones is what you would call them, especially when I was doing like my gaming stuff last year, but I gave up pretty quickly because I just wasn't used to the interface, so it would take a long time, So I just went straight back to iMovie because it's what I know and it's really easy to use. So yeah. Alright, I got a few questions here that are pretty similar again. So what made you decide to do ranking videos, and what inspired you to start ranking? So the cliche answer that I've said before is boredom in quarantine is why I started doing them. I was really just looking for another hobby to do. But what inspired me really was, so I want to say from like September 2019 to March 2020, I began watching ranking channels, and the only two I really watched was Red Hawk and Hoxie, and funnily enough, the only videos I watched was their monthly Monstercat rankings, because this was before I actually started following the label's releases. I didn't start doing this till like March of 2020, so to find out which songs were good from each month, I would just watch their videos, and then I'd decide, oh, do I like it? I guess I'll add it to my playlist. So that's how I did that. So I guess another reason I started this channel was because I wanted to start sharing my opinions on the music I was hearing. And it started in March 2020, again because of quarantine, but also because that's the month I finally started to actually follow the label's releases. Alright, what advice would you give to people who are planning on starting a ranking channel? Okay, this is tough. I don't even know if I'm fully qualified to answer this, but I'll try my best. So, when I started, I didn't really have a plan. I only had a couple video ideas. Like, I wanted to rank Grant's discography, and then I wanted to rank Worlds, and then Bad Computers at the time, because, you know, those are three of my favorite artists. I was like, okay, that would be fun to rank. But I would say definitely have a plan of what you want to rank, and like a plan not just at the beginning of your channel, but also like down the line, so you always have ideas of like what to rank. And then another thing I would say is, especially for ranking videos, you got to have reasonings in there, because I don't know about you guys, but when I watch a ranking video without reasonings, I tend to just skip through it, and just because it's not as interesting, really. So reasonings are very important, and even though at the beginning they may suck, like if you look back at my old videos, my reasonings are complete whack. I don't even want to revisit those. So it's going to take time. You're going to need to practice your reasonings. Well, okay, not really practice, but like over time, they'll just improve. And then a third thing I would say is make sure you stand out like in your editing style. There's not much you can do. Like you can change like the font and like the way, like the transitions and stuff, like how they edit. But then it took a very long time for me to realize like I wanted to sometimes sync like, you know, numbers or stuff like visuals with audio, because I think it looks really cool. So yeah, those are my three ideas, or three tips I would give, I guess. Alright, we got Searman, or Ben, the guy who started this whole Q&A trend, so props to you. I don't know why it's not showing my previous comment, but yeah, dude, I don't know why that was like deleted. I didn't do it. I have no idea. Like I saw it in the like the little notifications bar, but it wasn't on the actual video, so I don't know. And then who's your favorite names out of the rankers in the community currently? Be as honest as you like. Also love the voice, by the way. Dude, I don't know why you guys love my voice so much. Like I hate listening to it, but if you guys like it, that's cool, I guess. So out of the rankers right now, God, this question is so controversial, man. I don't want to make anyone upset or offend anyone. God, why'd you do this to me? Anyway, I might play it safe here. Borderline ranker, but also reactor, Bowtied Media right now is my favorite, just because his reaction videos are really good. He's blown up recently too, especially after like the Porter Robinson Nurture reaction, so his album reviews and reactions are great. And also this new style of ranking videos he's made is very cool actually, because his are like really short and his reasonings are short, but like it's so minimal and to the point that it's nice. Like you can watch it in just a few minutes, so that's nice sometimes. Like sometimes I like videos that are longer and give more in-depth reasonings, but sometimes I just want to like, you know, get it over with quickly. So that's what I like about him. Do you like synthwave? Do you like waffles? Yeah, I do like synthwave, man. It's not like one of my favorite genres, but it's a nice vibe sometimes, especially the atmosphere on tracks. A couple that come to mind, of course, is Time Travel Kool-Aid. Some of Fool's synthwave stuff is pretty good. So yeah, I do like synthwave. Average synthwave enjoyer right here. Alright, we got another one I'm pairing together. What is your least favorite genre? And what genre do you consider weird but still listen to on occasions? So least favorite genre? I could go with Slap House, because it's like house, but terrible. I mean, oh my god, I could go on a rant about Slap House, but I just prefer not listening to it. And then what's a genre you consider weird but like listening to sometimes? Honestly, the weirdest genre, it's probably a tie between hard dance or psytrance, because they're both kind of similar-ish, but like, I guess you could consider them weird, but I mean, In terms of psytrance, like Infected Mushroom, pretty great at it. Hard dance, I mean Stonebank, you already know. Like, even though it's gotten pretty tiresome, some of them are still pretty good. So those two genres, not my favorites, but I can listen to them sometimes. Do you think about making some kind of playlist on Spotify with your 10 favorite songs of the month, Monstercat or not? That is a good idea. I've never really thought about that. If I ever do like a suggestions or like DC recommends video, like those type of videos, I probably would. But basically what I do, I make a playlist of like the Monstercat releases of each month, just of that month, and start listening to those playlists about like, I want to say like a week or a few days before the month ends or before I'm going to make that monthly video. So yeah, I don't really make monthly playlists. I normally just have giant playlists that I can shuffle through, really. But that's a good idea. What was the best year for music? This is pretty tough. I don't know if I'm the right person to answer this, honestly, because as I said earlier, my iTunes library was just a huge hodgepodge of like a lot of different eras of music. If I'm thinking best decades, it would probably have to be 80s. I love 80s music, and a couple of my favorites out of that decade definitely coming from the band Queen and Michael Jackson. He's a legend. So, but if I'm talking about like today's music, I'm not really qualified to answer that because I missed out on a lot. Just take Madion's Adventure LP for example. The only two singles I added from that album were Pay No Mind and The City, and that was just because those were the only singles I knew. I didn't want to pay the full price for the whole album, and so I never listened to that full album until like a few months ago. So I missed out on a lot. There are some other albums I'll definitely go back to, like Worlds by Porter Robinson. Heard great things about it. So if I'm talking like more mainstream EDM and pop, like I don't know what the best year was, but one thing I can talk about, since I feel pretty qualified for it, the best year for Monstercat, it would probably either be 2016 or 2019 for me, just because in my top 100 list of 2020, a lot of songs, like the vast majority of songs, came from those 2 years. Alright, I got 2 questions here. A, what song that you hated grew on you? And B, what is the worst song on the best of comps since 2018? Specific, I know. So for the song that I hated that grew on me, you're not gonna believe it, but Ephixa Shadow People has turned into a huge guilty pleasure for me. I hated it at first, but honestly, if you just look at it through the right lens, like you can enjoy Ephixa music. For me, it's mainly just ironic enjoyment, but it's pretty fun still, so I like it now. And B, what is the worst song on the best of comps since 2018? Now, I haven't looked at those comps in a while, so I just looked it up real quick, and honestly, on the best of 2019 comp, probably have to be Metaphysical by Slippy. I know a lot of people like his heavier style, but for me, that one just has never clicked with me. I don't know if it's just like the super high-pitched lead, if I remember correctly. I haven't even heard the song in a while. I just remember not liking it. So yeah, that's probably my least favorite. Worst remix on Monstercat. So, I'll be honest, I try my best to avoid the remix packages because I know a lot of them are pretty bad. So I'm just going off of watching other people's videos here. I know that the Pegboard Nerds Pink Cloud EP remixes are pretty bad. I know that the Play by Tokyo Machine remixes are pretty bad. I know that, the one I actually did rank last year, one of my first videos, was the Potions remix EP. Like, there are so many bad ones in that too. There's just way too many, really. So I honestly can't pick a single remix because there's just too many. I hardly ever listen to remixes, and the only times they ever make my playlist is if I like them more than the original. Hey, it's DC from the future. While editing this video, I just realized I missed one question. What's the worst song on Monstercat? Now, similar to the worst remix on Monstercat, I honestly don't know if I could just choose one. And because I try not to listen to or think about like the worst songs, because as good as the label is, there is quite a few bad songs on there. Because especially like back in like 2011, when the label was just starting, there's a lot of terrible dubstep and trash like that. Like I could choose any of those. But if we're talking like present day, so far this year, I mean, probably So Good by Good Times Ahead. That's definitely going to make my worst of the year. Don't know what place it'll be in, but we'll see. So I can't really pick a single song, but for this year, it'd probably be So Good. All right, shifting on to some more lighthearted questions here. Top 3 Madion songs. Ooh, this is tough because my opinion changes all the time. You all know I love Madion, one of my favorite artists right now, especially after hearing his 2 full-length albums finally. Okay, I definitely have a definitive top 2. That would have to be Be Fine and Pay No Mind. But if I were to pick a third one, right now I've actually had this song stuck in my head for like the past week. It's Shelter by Madion and Porter Robinson. I can't believe I missed this song back in like 2015 or 2016 when it came out, so I'm pretty sad about that, but it's been a bop for like the past week or two. So yeah, that's probably my third favorite right now. But like I said, my opinion changes all the time, so it could be something totally different like in the next few days. Alright, top 3 Rogue songs. Oh, this is pretty similar to Madion, so I definitely have a definitive top 2, and that's Imperfect Views and Empires. But like I said, my opinion changes, so for a third right now, honestly, this is tough. I love Fortress, that's a really good one, but if I'm looking for like a nice banger, definitely Rattlesnake. That's probably my favorite trap song from him right now. Absolute classic. Favorite Monstercat songs which are in Rocket League, since I'm pretty sure that's how you discovered and came to love all this. Yes, you would be correct. So, little storytime answer, I guess, again for this one. For a while when I was playing Rocket League, I didn't really care about the music, but something clicked, and when I heard Castaway, it began to grow on me so much that I had to listen to it outside the game. And that, like, the summer of 2019 is when I started listening to, like, a playlist someone made on YouTube of all the Rocket League songs. And so I got my favorites from that. I would say my top 3, definitely Castaway, Internet Boy by Dion Timmer, and Glide by Stephen Walking. Just those 3 give out such good summertime vibes that I love. So those 3 will always hold a special place in my heart. Hey, it's DC from the future while editing this video. I thought I would include the fact of what the first Monstercat song I looked up on YouTube that wasn't in Rocket League, and I'm pretty sure it was Time Voyage by Just a Gent. And so I consider myself pretty lucky because that was a great first impression. Okay, we got 2 questions left, and they're pretty similar once again, so I'm going to combine them. First one, do you think Monstercat is dying? No, and I'll get to that more in depth in the next question. Thoughts on the current state of Monstercat? As you are someone who joined the community during one of the middle Rocket League comps, you know that the quality of music and artists were a lot better at that time. Why are we seeing a downfall in quality, and why do highly thought of artists like Bad Computer and Cloud None have to carry every comp they're on? This is a loaded, juicy question, man. Okay, so first things first, I just want to acknowledge the fact that because I'm so new to the label, my opinion may differ from you, especially if you've been following the label for a longer time than me. This is just coming from a guy who's only been following the releases for about a year. While so far this year, the quality of music overall has been a little bit lower than previous years, I feel like everybody's overreacting just a little bit. I'm not sure why, but I feel like a lot of people have come to expect the label to release pretty much everything perfectly, for there to be like no bad songs whatsoever, but that's never been the case. If you look back to just last year, the very first month I ever ranked was April of 2020. Now, while that month did have a couple good songs like It's All Over by Shock One or Riddle by Bad Computer, it also had a pretty bland full EP, it had Busted Out by Fowler, which I didn't care for, it also had a really stupid Potions remix package, so you can't expect every single month to be good. Here's how it works. Pretty much every month I've ranked has looked like a bell curve. So basically there's a few good songs on the top. Most of the songs lie in the middle category where it's like they're good, not great, okay to listen to, and then there's a few really bad songs that I just wouldn't return to. And this bell curve theory can be applied to pretty much everything the label puts out, from Uncaged and Instinct volumes to EPs and LPs. And I feel like the people who have followed this label longer than me tend to look back at the so-called golden era of Monstercat. I think that was like 2015 to 2017. They tend to look back at that, and the catalog albums especially, and say, oh, today's music is never going to be as good as that. All those were flawless. But coming from a guy who is just now going through the catalog albums, there's quite a few songs on there that aren't that good to me. Maybe it's nostalgia bias for a lot of those people, but for me, I feel like the quality has gone up in the past couple years. Now, yes, this year, again, we've had a little more songs on the bad end than normal, but I still think Monstercat has had a lot of high highs, as EXO said. There are quite a few good songs this year that I've liked so far, but I also have a couple theories of what the problem is and why people are freaking out. The first problem I think that's happening is that there are quite a few artists that make their debut, and either they leave a bad impression or a good impression, doesn't really matter, but then they don't release much afterwards. Sure, sometimes they'll release an EP or something, but most of the time it's just like a one-hit wonder, and that can leave people frustrated because they want to hear more from that artist on the label. Another theory I had was that a lot of mainstays on the label, like OG artists like Rogue and Conroe, haven't released much this year. I know those two artists are like some of my favorites. I'm not sure if everybody loves them, but they're big names on the label, and the fact that we've been missing them had just kind of taken a hit. And Rogue, totally understandable. I mean, he just had a baby, so shout out to him. Conroe, I don't know what you're doing, buddy. You had a album last year, but it's been about a year, so I could use some new music from you. Don't want to sound selfish, but I love me some Conroe. And my last theory is the idea to increase the Uncaged and Instinct volumes to 50 songs instead of 40. So far, I think that was kind of a bad move, because when you add more songs to a comp, you're gonna inherently add more bad songs to a comp, and those always get highlighted. And of course, I'm just talking about the general consensus of the community because music is subjective. Of course, there's always gonna be people that like bad songs and there's gonna be people that hate good songs. And I definitely think Monstercat can recover this year. First of all, it's only May, and second of all, they've already had a lot of good songs, they just need to put out some more. Well, that's gonna wrap up this Q&A vid. Thank you guys again for all your questions. I hope I answered them the way you wanted me to, and I'll catch you in the next vid. See ya.